Okay, so I want to keep the music, but I don't want it to drown me out. So let's try this. Let's try this. Okay, so I don't know who's out there. I don't know where you're from. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Now pick whichever one applies to you. Let me just start off by saying that um, this is a return to a world that I had been doing a video series on, and I retired the series because it's not quite like the other series. I think it was screwing up the algorithm for the channel. Now I don't mind so much, but anyway, uh, if you're not familiar with Satisfactory, it's an automation game, right? But in this case, the automation is made in the form of a first-person experience. And during the series, I started building and learning the game, and I realized it might be. Actually, this is before the series. I figured, I got like 8 hours into it. I said this might be interesting to show, to learn on camera. So I restarted the game and filmed it all as a series. And my first attempt at a base, it worked, but it was. I was still learning the systems. It was really, really rough. I tore that down and built a better base, and that was more structured. But then I realized it was completely non-scalable. So I tore that down and I did a third iteration of the base, which was these square islands with bridges between them. And I was pretty happy with that, but like I said, I needed to end the series because I think it was screwing up the algorithm. I don't think these live streams are going to play into it at all, so I don't mind bringing it back. But once I had retired the series, I didn't even think I was going to come back to the game at all. And some friends of mine in Ireland invited me to jump onto their server and see what they had put together multiplayer, and I was floored. And there's a few things that came of that, right? I mean, one was that I was totally inspired. I really wanted to get back into the game. And two, I saw what they had done. I mean, they gave me a grand tour, and I saw just how big the world was, and I came to realize that my little island design, while it does scale, it would just be infeasible with this world the way it is, right? This world's big enough. Trying to cart all the materials to a central location, and then these little islands, I was scaling them up, but I'd have to scale them way up to be able to have all the necessary square footage to make things happen. So I started experimenting. I started goofing around, and so I still have some islands left. There's still some production on these islands, but for the most part, the production has been moved away, right? And let me give you a little tour. If you're familiar with what happened in the series, then this might make sense to you. And if you're not, this will at least give you a foundation on what I'm doing here. So this was, or is actually, my hub. The center administration of the whole base, of the whole game, actually. So, and I was pretty happy with it. I was. Not anymore. So this needs to be redone. One of the things I realized is I need a place to store my stuff. Now, I created this building, and it is it's not for central storage for automation. It's central storage for me, right? Because I run around and with stuff in my pockets, I have a place to put the overflow, and you know, these are all the things I've unlocked and I've started producing and squirreled away. I have a bunch more storage down the sides, both sides. So there's plenty of storage to grow into, and on top too. There's a whole second level that I haven't even begun to tap yet. One of the first things I did is I had, you know, on these islands over here, I was making my, well, I was actually had some very tall islands over here where I was getting ready to move my iron production, you know, iron items, and maybe start steel production. But then, you know, I did actually start it, and then we went to retiring the series. So when I started over, I tore all that up, and I went with this idea of I'm going to find the resources, and in this case, I found a bunch of them right here, right? I mean, look at all that iron. That's a crazy amount of iron in one place. So I said, well, it makes sense that I would produce my iron-based stuff, plates, rods, screws, and reinforced plates and rotors, right there. So that's what I did. We'll go there. It's not that one. I'll get to that one in a second. That's my second main factory. It's this bigger one over here. And here we are. So it's manufacturing plant alpha. You can see these are the items that I'm building here. You can see I've got miners all over the place producing a kind of like a reverse waterfall of iron. So we'll take a relaxing elevator ride up into the factory floor. So this is where it's at, right? I started producing. I've got iron coming in 6 different lines, which then feed to 4 different constructors. Actually, it's 8 lines feeding 4 constructors. And so the main output of the not constructors, the 4 assemblers. That's what it is. So the main assembled pieces are reinforced iron plates and rotors. We got oodles of them. But you see, I'm making more than enough plates and screws and rods for the production of those more advanced items, so I went ahead and squirreled away those pieces too. So I'm good to go. I'm good to go with this stuff for now. And here's the thing: when you, I mean, the production is almost stopped now because they're all pretty much full. But you can see that. Well, you probably can't see because, like I said, the production's pretty much stopped because it's full. But when it was moving slow because as much production as I have going here, these miners can easily keep up. So when it comes time to increasing this production, for now, I actually set aside a whole second floor where I can basically duplicate the effort. So this is all ready to go if and when the time comes. And I figure after I set up a second floor, at that point we can start doing things like overclocking and that type of jazz, just if we need more production. Oh. Okay. It's a pretty night out there. During the day, it's a pretty cool view, but right now it's night, so it's not quite as stellar. Then, using what I learned from this factory, I created a second factory, which happens to be basically next door. It's this one. It's smaller. This is where I've got my copper-based materials, plus there's a Caterium node just over the way here. I better turn this on so I don't accidentally run off a cliff. So there's a Caterium node there, and I set it up, and it's why is that not sending up? Oh, I see what happened. I see what happened. There we go. Hold on. Why is that? Shouldn't be producing what it should be doing. Something's not right here. Let's see what we got. This is supposed to be making... Oh, I see what it was. I accidentally killed off the miner. Okay. So all this is extraneous. In fact, we can kill it like this. I don't need this. What I do need is a miner. What am I missing? I'm missing encased beams. Okay. So we'll get that going. In a minute. Look at all that wire. That wire's not supposed to be going there. And just for the record, I am not an expert in this game whatsoever. I still have a great deal to learn. Like, for example, this is the inside of that factory. We're producing this stuff. For the record, this is where I started experimenting with the railroad, which is freaking huge, by the way. And I'm still working on a basic station design. Now, I have played a mess of transport games. Transport Fever 1 and 2, the Venerable Railroad Tycoon 1, 2, 3, Sid Meier's Railroads, Locomotion, I mean, Transport Tycoon, what was it? Transport Tycoon Deluxe, Open TTD, you know, I got them all. I love them. And I've employed some of what I know about those here, but this is actually, this thing goes one step further, right? We kind of have to micromanage loading and unloading and stuff. So I just kind of scratched the surface. This is what I was working on this afternoon, in fact. So we're getting there. We're getting there. So let me go back and fix this factory while we're at it. And I need the encased beams, so we will go back to our hyper tube and get some encased beams, because I apparently don't have any on me. Do I? I can't look at my inventory when I'm flying around. I think actually I have some on me, but they're slated to go up to the dimensional depot. Let's see. No, I don't have it. This is a virtual store. It's basically, I found the technology where I can take a limited amount of stuff and put it into, for all intents and purposes, you can call it the cloud. And then I can carry access to those with me. And so instead of having, trying to carry all this stuff in my inventory, it's in the cloud. And I can call it out whenever I need to. But it's a slow process loading stuff to the cloud. So I don't have everything loaded up there that I want, which is why I'm still using this. So yeah, give me some of these. And these hyper tubes are set up kind of willy-nilly. I set them up to be temporary in nature. The only two real buildings that are permanent was that storage and then these two factories. Everything else, well, and I guess the space elevator, but everything else is subject to change to fit the new paradigm. So what we want to do here is, how do I get these things off of here, right? Should be able, it should let me pull them off of there, no problem, but it's, I'll pick up the barrel nuts. There we go. On. There we go. I don't want to... The quick way to do it, I guess, would be to tear down the conveyor, but I don't want to do that. Okay, got all those. Let's go out here and grab them where they're coming in. That is a smelter. This is a smelter. See if I can get up here to get them out of there. There we go. Did I get them all? Well, we'll find out in a second. Now we can go add the miner and the Caterium should be able to get into the smelter and resume production. So, miner Mark II. Is that going to work, or am I going to have to replace the belt? Oh yeah, I have to power it up. I hope it just works. No. There we go. It's off and working again. There is some copper down here, so I set that up to go. Now that's the permanent stuff. To get me to this point, I have a lot of ragtag stuff that I threw up. Part of the learning process, part of the just kind of temporary measures to get me going type of stuff, and I'll show you that now. For example, steel production. Once you get, so you use a mess of iron in the early stages of the game, and I still use a good chunk of iron now. But then you get into the steel age, and you really use a lot of steel. And what I have here, this was I set this up to produce a lot of the iron stuff and some of the steel. I have since taken out the iron stuff, right? All the iron lines were here, and I showed you the new factory where they are, and we only have steel going on, and it's still pretty minimal. It's still pretty minimal, so I got to tear all this down and redo the steel so that it's much more productive. If you look, I got a parachute by the way, but if you look here, well, it's moving at about the same pace, actually. For a while there, it was using a lot less coal than iron, but now it seems to be using about equal amounts of both. So, oh, that's because it's this. I'm almost full on these. Anyway, we'll tear these up and we'll use them. And then another thing I had done is I ran a tube out. Now, once you had the hyper tubes, it was a lot easier to go exploring because you didn't have to run all the way back, right? So this is what spurred some growth. If you look at the map, during the course of the video series, I had explored pretty much this. That was it. And now I've explored a great deal more. Right? Actually, I think I got some of this during the video series too, but you know, at one point I need to go search of oil, and I found other stuff. So this is for now a temporary place to produce sulfur. This is a longer trip right here. And then I started, like I said before, I was on my friend's server, and they were showing me around the world. They had built a transportation system that spanned the whole map, and they're showing me the biome left and biome right, and it's like, holy smokes. So then I had to do some of my own exploring, and it has been very, very interesting, right? So what sent me all the way out here was the need for more power. I had tapped up all the coal I had access to make coal power, and I needed more power for the next stage, and that's kind of what this is. This is where I've started producing electricity, through burning fuel. Not coal, but we take crude oil, we refine it into fuel, and then we use that in the fuel generators. The problem I had is after I set it up, it's kind of loud. Let's go over here. Is that one not working? Oh, because it's not hooked up to fuel. Anyhow, after I set it up, I realized that this design wasn't going to scale well. I'd have one refinery fueling two power plants, and that's what I originally was envisioning. But here's the problem: when you go over here to the refinery and you look at the recipes, there's a whole bunch of different recipes, and if I have all my refiners producing fuel, then I am producing a lot of this residual polymer resin stuff, right? And you could use that to make things like plastics and rubber. So I realized I was going to need a whole lot more refineries than I would for just fueling the generators, and then that's going to kind of break this layout model I'd come up with. So now I'm thinking what I'll need to do is I will set up my refineries on this level, and then I'll make a level one higher and put my power generation up there, and then that way it'll be easier to route everything. And in fact, you can see I've already built the first leg of the next floor up, and I believe the elevator goes all the way up. No, not yet. I need to finish building it. I need to put the floor up there, but that's what we're gonna do with that. Let's see. Let's take the express back. Now, there's a geyser. I don't know what to do with those yet. And in fact, did I map that one? No, I didn't even map it. Okay. Let's go map this. So, but see, I can extend this platform out over the whole lake to build more and more power generation, and well, that's pretty. Kind of reminds me of Yellowstone. Ugh. So this is a geyser, pure. So I've been marking resources on the map like this. This is geyser, pure, select an icon, and select a color. Oh, I don't have a color selected. Okay, let's just there we go. We'll call this color water. And then I got to get off of this to be able to edit the map icon like this. I had the darndest time with these. See? Stored colors. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just saved it as a blue and it comes out as this weird gray color. So let's go over here and just paste it. Very annoying, quite frankly. That is one big mushroom. So of course, I've with access to new materials and greater quantities of some of the old materials, I've been able to advance my technology a bit, right? So that's how I'm able to build the fuel-generated power plants. You may have noticed I have access to a parachute, which is pretty cool. It turns out to be much more useful than you think. It's not just for saving your butt falling off of things, but I'll show you that later. Also, I got a rebar gun, which was pretty cool. If you don't know what rebar is, if you ever been to a construction site and seen this, like this iron bar that has kind of like ridges on the side, that's rebar, and they use it to strengthen walls, especially concrete and stuff. Well, the rebar gun will shoot a bar of rebar, and it's pretty darn effective. The downside is it takes a long time to reload, right? So that was fun. And then I actually went on to the next level where I've got a fully automatic assault rifle. And I try to carry 1,000 rounds with me whenever I go running around. And it doesn't make you invincible, but it certainly does help even the odds, especially since the hostile creatures I'm encountering away from the newbie zone are definitely reminding you that you are no longer in the newbie zone. Some of them take a real beating, and so the new weapon, the new firepower is greatly appreciated. I also have a new vehicle. If you were watching the series, you remember I had what they call a tractor, and it's like a little cube that I stand on the back of. It's and it worked. It worked fine, but now I have kind of a dune buggy thing, and I think it works better. The nice thing about the dune buggy thing is you can drive through like poisonous gas. It doesn't affect me. While hanging on the back of the sugar cube, I don't remember if I got poison gas or not. So this one, again, if you saw the series, you saw that I had set up my quartz in a remote location, and I kept driving to it through a pretty little valley, which is this little valley, and it was full of poison gas and stuff. And as you can see, on my way to having the rebar gun and regular guns, I've essentially invented bombs, and they allowed me to basically blow up the gas-emitting stuff. Excuse me. Okay. So at the moment, it's just throwing the quartz into a container, nothing fancy. But this will become a full-fledged production run. And up here is where I had my other spot that I was manually mining quartz. So if you're not familiar with the game or the games of this type, it's very much a matter of iteration, right? You start building some basic stuff, and then that will eventually lead to access to better materials and or better facilities or building materials, and then so you oftentimes wind up either tearing down your old stuff and replacing it, or sometimes you're able to upgrade stuff in place, and then lather, rinse, repeat over and over again, and that's where we're at, right? So it's something I've been really enjoying. I've been enjoying a lot more, and the name of the game, name of the channel, is World Builder, and I really do love building. And one of the things I loved about this game is it really is about the building, right? And not, and like I've said it many times, I don't really want to build for the sake of building, right? Like in a Minecraft creative mode, I want to earn the pieces I build. I want there to be some obstacles, and I want to build a living, breathing world where the stuff I build has function, right? And that's what all this is in spades. But the reason I deprecated it, and the reason I think that the algorithm wasn't real happy with me, is it's not really like an open survival world a la Minecraft, right? And so when I retired this series, I retired any series I had that wasn't basically an open world, procedurally generated survival crafting gig. So at the moment, my main series are Minecraft and Vintage Story and Enshrouded, and when Hytale gets settled enough, we'll go ahead and add that to the regular roster. So there you go. Now, of course, you got questions. By all means, please speak up. Just let me know you're out there. That would also be handy. I didn't shoot anything, did I? No, okay. But I can put some stuff away. Like this. Where'd it go? Here it is. And I don't think I have any high speed. I do. And I have motors over here. And we'll keep that for now. We'll go. Anyway. So, there's a lot of the map I know I have yet to unveil. There are all sorts of technologies I have yet to discover. This one's completed, nutrients are completed, but I've only started to scratch the surface with hard drives. Hold on. Where's my hard drive library? Shouldn't there be a list of all the stuff I figured out? Okay. Alien technology. This is going to be expensive to figure out. Caterium I've done pretty well on, but now this is all doable. It's just going to take some time, some effort. Mycelia is one that I wasn't even started upon until I was able to find some fungus in another part of the map. And so this one has a lot of work. Nutrients are done. Power slugs. I have to get this thing, a time crystal. I don't even know how I'm going to find out how to make those. Quartz is almost done, and that's all completely doable, just needs time and effort. Sulfur still has a lot of stuff to do, but I mean, this is all doable. It's just this one though. What is this? Aluminum casing. So apparently there's aluminum in the game. I don't know where it is, haven't seen it. Well, I take that back. I have long time ago, I found this stuff right here, bauxite. I don't remember where, but it was somewhere in the newbie zone. And I think that's just to give me a clue that it exists out there somewhere. Haven't found it, so... And I imagine it's probably very far from here, right? It's probably a late game material, but there you go. And that's pretty much the tour. Now it's just, you know, unless... all the maps in this game always the same, or do they change? Oh, somebody's talking. So it really looks like it's better to have the tube system building across this very large system. So let's talk about both those things. The tube system. Yes, it is imperative to have the tube system, at least to some degree. Now, I would like... At first, I thought I would like to build a transportation system that doesn't use the tube system, because it seems kind of wackadoodle, really. Kind of squirrely. But truth is, it really is fast, especially if you keep it level. Going up hills, you lose a lot of momentum. But it is, I think, the quickest way to travel. Now, once you build a train, you can ride your own trains while they're doing their work and stuff. But I think the tube system really is the way to go, and I got to figure out a way to do that well. Certainly, certainly better than this. You have to be careful too, because like the guys that first showed this to me, they'd set up a tube entrance here and like a tube entrance here, and you had to be careful because you could fly out of the tube, and if you're not careful and stop yourself, you'd fly right into the other tube and keep going. So yeah, there's some finesse to that. Now, are the maps in the game always the same, or do they change? Well, the maps are always the same, and normally I'm a huge proponent for procedurally generated worlds, right? And in my opinion, that's what keeps the game super replayable. Now, with that said, if you spend much time looking at the Satisfactory community, you can see that lots of people say this is a super replayable game. And it really is. Even with the map being the same all the time, I can't tell you how many people who really love this game and they're on their 5th or 6th playthrough and they do something different each time, and they totally enjoy it. And I can see that. I can feel that. That said, version 1.2 of the game it's in the experimental branch, so you can play it now. And they're refining it, and they'll be full release. But in version 1.2, you can set up a world where these nodes, these resource nodes, are randomized. Now, let's talk about that. There's a lot of different ways you can configure it that really makes it into a different game. This, obviously, I'm playing vanilla with the default settings. But if you look, you can see like these kind of white rock-looking things. These are iron, and they seem to be clustered, right? And if you go like, there you go. Up here, there's an oil field, and you can find like all the oils clustered. So with the default, you would actually, that's what you do. You do the same thing here. I know with all this iron here and some copper, that's why I set up this factory to be so iron intensive, because I have all that iron just sitting there. But when you have these alternate game modes, all these could be randomized. And guys were saying like, here, this is the newbie zone, right? And they were saying like the Sam, which is there is one in the newbie zone, which I found accidentally. I'll show you in a minute. But all the nodes get randomized, and so there's guys who are reporting that here in the newbie zone they have like things like uranium, which uranium's radioactive. You can't even get near this stuff without taking damage, and so there's all sorts of special stuff you have to do to be able to handle it. And they got a bunch of it here in the newbie zone, yet they don't have copper, which is one of the very first things you need to have access to, right? So it adds a bit of challenge to the game. I don't know if you want that much challenge, but it's certainly there. And they have some other variations too. So it's normally, like I said, I would prefer a totally random type map system or generated map system, but this works surprisingly. So let me show you the Sam one. So I found this accidentally, right? So Sam is actually a pretty rare material. It's a mid-game material, right? And there's more dangerous parts of the map. You can find 2 or 3 of these things clustered. But the way I found this one is I had finally gotten the ability to blow stuff up, and there was some rocks and stuff here that looked like they could be blown up, and they in fact could be. They were basically blocking the entrance to caves and stuff. And as I got in here, there was these. Well, they're gone now because I blew them all up. But there's these plants that basically, when you get close, they stand up and start spewing poison gas. And while some of them surprised me, I mean, all of this was heavily forested with bushes and stuff, so I couldn't see. And while I was trying to battle one of those, I fell into this deep hole. Now, the deep hole's not so deep at the moment because I covered it up. But let me just show you
how deep this hole really is, because this is the hole I fell into. Way down there, actually. Way down there. And at the bottom of all this, there's a SAM node. SAM, I think, is special alien matter or something like that. So here it is. And then so I tapped it, and then I built all this infrastructure to allow me to mine it and pull it all the way back up so that I don't have to go down here into this dangerous place anymore. There are lots of caves. Now, this is a game where you can't dig into the environment, right? There's elements of the environment you can blow up, but you can't dig or tunnel your way through it, right? So for anything you might want to do, you're either going to have to pass through the environment, or for the most part, just build on top of it. And I learned today that there's a guy who, in a way, is kind of my hero. I mean, I love this world. This is a beautiful world, and it's full of life. And you know, like when I first had the ability to generate electricity, it was by burning, you know, plants and trees. And I wanted to get away from that as fast as I could. I wanted to preserve this world. But this guy, he doesn't do that. What he's done is essentially he's taken if you ever watch Star Trek and you know who the Borg are, that's what he does. He's essentially transformed most of the map, every square meter, into covered with metal and machines and everything else. It's not like Coruscant, like in Star Wars. You know, that's a big, kind of a beautiful city, but, you know, a wall-to-wall city. No, his is a wall-to-wall factory. You see the videos, see the screenshots. It's pretty amazing what he's done. And then, by the sounds of it, you guys are kind of new to this game. So the key thing here, right, the whole premise of the game is it's, I guess not the far future, but the semi-near future, I guess. And this is another planet, obviously. And I'm just a corporate drudge that has been sent here by the Fix-It Corporation to basically produce resources and send them up the space elevator to where they're going to be using these materials for some type of effort to save humanity, which we're not going to get into the argument about whether or not humanity should or needs to be saved, but how the heck do you ever get to the point where you're at, where you have the resources to build the things you're showing us? So, yes, well, it kind of snowballs, right? Because what happens is when you first start, you've got nothing. It's just you, and you find some of these resource nodes, and when you get to a resource node, let me find one over here. There's got to be one nearby. Oh, there's my dog. I had two, but I lost one. I don't know where he went. Let me show you something. When you first wind up on planet, you have nothing. You have nothing in your hands. And when you find one of these resource nodes, it usually has a little outcropping on it. And if you look, you can mine it by hand, right? And this is how you get your first material that then you would then build your hub, which is your little headquarters thing. I'll show you the headquarters. And then from there, you can start building more and more advanced stuff. And you can do a lot of stuff manually. But let me tell you, they go out of their way to make the manual stuff so incredibly painful that you're kind of driven into the arms of automation. And that's really what this is about. As you start automating it, that unlocks more materials, better technologies, which allows you to automate better, faster, grander scales, and this whole thing snowballs, right? It's the same thing like with Factorio, where originally you're proud because you're producing 100 of something, and 50 hours later in the game you're producing 10,000 of something, and then another 50 hours in the game you're producing 100,000 of something. It scales. But then like I said, I went and grabbed some stuff by hand, created the hub, which is kind of your headquarters. You can only have one in the game. It's got this living space inside, which doesn't really do anything. You can't sleep in the game. You can't eat, but you can turn the water on. You can turn the microwave on, but that's it. You can do something with the coffee maker, but you got to get a cup of coffee. You can get a cup. It's not worth it. Okay. Oh, this is new. They changed it. It used to be the toilet was just a toilet, but I guess you can use the toilet to get rid of stuff, it looks like.
You couldn't see it with your human eyes, but that item contained a volatile substance that could only be negated with water, so it is for the best.
And that is the voice of my AI. The AI who is snide, condescending, and a complete corporate shill, right? The eyes and ears of the corporation. You can play on your computer. They've got essentially like a Tetris type game that you could try to, and man, is it loud. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. And then from there, you start expanding. This is my research bench, right? I showed you that one. This is your equipment bench where you can start making things like chainsaws and scanners. Haven't used a zip line. Haven't made the jetpack because I don't have any way to fuel it at the moment. But I do have, I can make guns and bombs and stuff. Oh my. This is an interesting thing. So it's called the Awesome Sink. And the idea is that if you have extra materials that you don't need, you can pump it into this thing, and when you have enough stuff pumped into it, it'll produce coupons, tickets. And every time you earn a ticket, you start earning toward the next ticket, but it's a little more expensive, and eventually it gets really expensive. And then you can take your tickets and you can buy them over here at the little store. Now they have, like here you can buy some different soundtracks and a boombox to play them in. More useful to me are things like signs, lighting. And you don't buy it. What you do is you buy access to build these things yourself. And as you go through and unlock new technologies, new items appear here. So you have different patterns you can put on your foundations. You can change the different textures of foundations. You can get different shapes of foundations and walls and architectural pieces, frameworks, cables, beams, ventilation bundle. It's kind of cool. And there's a coffee cup that I haven't bought that you can use with the coffee maker. You can buy some of the equipment. Of course, one of these for 50 of these for one ticket. That's crazy expensive, right? The ticket's so much more useful for others. The same thing here, right? 500 screws for one ticket. I mean, I can't fart without a bunch of screws coming out. I have it coming out of my ears. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's how that system works. That's pretty cool. And then the way the tutorial works. The tutorial walks you through the steps necessary to make this thing, right? And what they do is here in the hub, you can go to your milestones, right? So you start at tier 0, and it tells you, okay, you need if you can get me these 10 iron rods, we can upgrade things, and then you can build this other stuff. So you do that. And you hub upgrade 2 and a 3, and then now your hub is all upgraded. But see, now you're producing more and more items, and there are greater variety. You move on to tier 2, and they're going to give you things like walls and foundations and conveyor belts. Then we can learn how to build things like the research center. And I've gone through all of these. I think this is where. Actually, I think this is where we finished the space elevator, and you had to send stuff up. And then these two, I had to unlock and then send more stuff up. And now on 5 and 6, this is the last technology I need to wrap this up, and then I need to send the stuff in the upper right, the far upper right. I have to make it and send it in a space elevator and then unlock the next 2 tiers of technology. And that's it. So now the building, they use a this thing, which actually mine doesn't look so bad anymore. The coloring, I had it for a while. It looked, for all intents and purposes, it looked like one of those hand scanners at the checkout of Home Depot, because the default color scheme is orange and gray, and so yeah, it looked like a hand scanner for Home Depot. Now it doesn't look that bad, but you can take that thing and we can use it to, like, when something's highly like orange, I could suck it back up and I get all the materials back. And I will give huge credit to the developers for in this game. Okay, thanks, Chris. And thank you. Have a good night, Chris. I give the developers full props for knowing that this is a game of experimentation, right? And so you're not penalized if it costs X, 10x resources to build this. Then, well, like here it says it's if I dismantle it, it'll cost 24 copper sheets and 24 steel tubes. Well, I can even show you. So then I'll go ahead and do that. So it's gone. That won't work anymore. But I can put it right back, and it's going to cost the 24 copper sheets and the 24 steel tubes. So I'm not penalized at all. And that's cool. So, because this is very much a game of you try something, and then when you know better, you go back and tear up what you did and build a better one. Now, let me just show you where you originally start with your power production is this stuff, right? So I was, you had to go out and cut down trees and weeds and stuff, and you can put them into a machine, and it will take your leaves or your wood, and it'll convert them into this stuff called biomass. And you could use this in these biomass burners to generate energy. But then you can convert that into this stuff, which is called solid biofuel, which is even more efficient, and then you get more mileage out of it. Oh, this is all screwed up, but that's because I'm taking this stuff apart bit by bit. And my worry was I didn't want to denude the entire planet so that I can keep my electricity running. So then the search was on to find coal, and when I found it, I set these up, coal power plants, and they served me pretty well. But then I hit right up on the limit of those, and that's when I tried very hard to find to unlock oil production and the ability to make fuel and then burn the fuel in a fuel generator. So while we're at it, let's go take one more hypertube trip that I haven't shown you yet to another oil field, which it was the first one I found. And when I first found it, I thought there was just only one oil node there, so I didn't try to produce power. I was using it to produce products, those plastics and stuff I showed you. And it's been a while since I picked some up. I think I'm producing rubber at the moment, so we'll go get that rubber. Here we're going to go in the environment and see under things, and then okay, and come over here. It's a very varied environment. A lot of verticality, lots of cliff hanging or hard to reach places. So, like I said, there's a jetpack, and I think they kind of design it the map in such a way that you're going to unlock regions of the map and you're going to explore it, but there's going to be places that are hard to get without the jetpack. And then when you get the jetpack, you'll go back and find stuff that you didn't even know was up there, right? In fact, if you look at the map, you see all this black stuff. A lot of this I've been under, but this is really showing you this high ground. I haven't been up there to unlock and see what's on the high ground. This is nice. Kind of reminds me of the California coast, except for these these big arches. But yeah. Now this is interesting because when I found this, it turns out that these islands are full of bad guys. And for the record, that's not a bad guy. There's different names. I've heard people call them ticks, fleas. I call them walking water balloons, and you can bounce on them, just like a trampoline. So I set this up to produce rubber or plastic. Like I said, at the moment it's, rubber. We'll go ahead and grab that. And a byproduct it makes is this heavy oil residue, which you can refine into other stuff. At the moment, I'm just going to flush it, and then it'll go ahead and start producing rubber again. So let's see. Let's talk about this for a minute. So the first weapon you get is kind of like a taser rod type thing, like a cattle prod, and it is borderline useless for fighting stuff. And you can get a more advanced version, which this is equivalent to. Now, this looks like a giant candy cane because it is, in fact, a giant candy cane. The development team, oh, God bless them, they have, the name of the company that I'm working for in the game is called Fix It. And every holiday season, every December, they run an event in-game called Fixmas, and you can then, it gives you an advent calendar that you can open and get all sorts of little treasures and stuff, and then but they unlock technologies that you can then use. One of the things you get is this candy cane I call Excalibur, right? It's not Excalibur and it's not a candy cane, it's Excalibur. And this was my primary weapon for a long time, and it's much more effective than the one you start with. And you got the chainsaw. The chainsaw is ineffective as a weapon. It's only for clearing brush and wood. These are the grenades. The grenades are only effective on biological stuff, right? So, on. So if I take a grenade and I prepare it, and this thing is called, it's a bad guy, it's called a hatcher. Let's see if I can get this not close and not even remotely close enough. Perfect.
Oh. It did not do what I thought it would do. But normally that's how I blow up plants and rocks. Hostile plants and rocks. Let's see if I can kill all those bugs. Nope. Those things seem to be immune to the bomb. Anyhow, so that's called the hatcher. And then, to me, it looks like a soft-boiled egg. It opens up and it shoots all these bugs. And these bugs basically try to, they're suicide dive bombers into you. And they take down your health and try to kill you that way. These other things that we saw over here, they're walking like hunched dogs. These are called spitters. That's interesting. That's a graphics artifact. And they're called spitters because once they lock onto you, they spit fireballs or plasma balls. And they come in different sizes. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So, there's those. There's a thing called hogs. We'll find those out here. And they're they sound like pigs, but they're like armadillo type pigs. They are heavily armored and they'll bash the living snot out of you. And then I'm trying to think what other. Oh, and then there's spiders. There are spiders that are nasty. So he's dead.
Sometimes they run away from you. Oh gosh, there's a big one. That hurt. Okay, gotta run. Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me. Okay, took him out. Now, when you kill aliens, they drop stuff. And you can take, once you do the research, you can take these remains and you can process it. And you can process it into something you can eat to heal you, which is not particularly appetizing in my opinion. Or you can process that into a biomass that you can use as a fuel in vehicles and stuff. Or you can process it into a DNA sample, which actually counts for quite a bit in that ticket machine I showed you. And that's my preferred use for them. Oh, so this is an untapped oil node. Luckily the oil doesn't stick to me. See. So there's some other things. I didn't realize I killed so many of them. Good. Like this arch thing. I see a hatcher up there. And I'm not able to get it. The day-night cycle's kind of screwy because this place has multiple suns. So sometimes it'll be daylight for a really long time. Like there's a sun there. There's a sun there. And they're on different cycles. So sometimes you can have a very long day or a very long night. And other times you have a very short day and a very short night. So, okay, let's try running. Take out that thing. And we'll grab the slug. Now, when you originally get the slugs, you don't know what to do with them. And then eventually you have to do research. You find out what you can do with them. But then you don't know what you can do with that thing. And then eventually you have the knowledge how to use the whole shebang. I want to jump. I'm pretty sure there's bad guys around here. Use my parachute. Thought this might be an oil thing. Might have cleared this whole area of beasties. That was a lot of bad guys. I could have swore up. The fairly good AI, right? So like you saw that when I started firing on some of those spitters, a bunch. What is this? Is this? Oh, rock quartz. I was hoping it was bauxite. In better light, you'd see it's purple, and that would tell you that it's quartz. Now, well, shoot. Let's just go exploring. I'm way far out here. Let's just see what we can see. Find what we can find. Unlock part of the map. Oh, actually, it's time for a break. So let me get back to a safe place, and then we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll pick up on the exploring. So what I'll do is run over here and climb up here. Okay, so 5 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Can I say 5 minutes here? No. Okay, see you in 5. And I'm back. And Katamba, to answer your question, yes, the bad guys do respawn. However, it's slow, right? It takes at least one, I think more like 2, 3, or even 4 real life hours before they come back. And some things on that. The bad guys, if you find bad guys, then invariably there's
Something in the area that you want. It's either a resource node or a special resource like those power slugs or something. But invariably, they don't randomly appear on the map. They're put in specific locations for a reason. And the more bad guys there are, the more goodies or more special the stuff you want, right? So, one low-level beastie, it's probably just like, an iron node or something. But if you find like lots of them, yeah, you bet there's something juicy there. That being said, like this oil node had a couple things that were spawning on it. But when you build in the game world, if it happens to be where these guys spawn, they won't spawn anymore. Now, it's not everything you build. I think it's got to be things that are like powered. But so now,
I didn't really have to climb all the way up here to be safe. I could have been down there and been just as safe. Nothing's going to spawn around here anymore. Now, you go over those hills, stuff still spawns. And I'm going to try to go over here, make sure I'm going the right direction. Yep. Now, you heal your... There's some medicines you can make. I don't think I've actually discovered all of them. The medicines you can make, they're actually very powerful for healing you. Oh, that is weird. But a lot of the natural food you can use to heal you, but it's not as effective as the medicines. My usual approach is to try just not to get hurt. There's a lot of these nuts. These nuts, if you look at my health in the lower left corner, it's broken up into a series of bars. Eating each of these nuts will heal half a bar. There's some berries that will heal a full bar. And then there's some mushrooms that taste like bacon, apparently, that will heal you even more. Okay. There's trees up in there. Let's go check those out. This is ominous. So I think I have the ability to scan for stuff now. And oh, there's some hostile stuff that way a little ways, but this should be okay. Let's see how we can get up here. Sure is pretty green and lush for being completely covered in cave-like. Uh-oh. You see how it's... That thing, the animal, the orange animal, that's a lizard dog. They're completely harmless. In fact, they're fraidy cats. You can tame them. And their claim to fame is that if you tame them, they can bring you stuff. So that's nice. There's a couple of them, actually. I do not hurt the dogs. You have to be careful. Spiders like living up high and dropping down on you, which is kind of a spider thing. Spiders do that. I've never seen so many dogs before. It's like Dog Central. Oh my gosh, it is like Dog Central. I mean, you find one every once in a while. But rarely have I seen more than 2 dogs in the same place at the same time. What is this? What is this? like a dog nest. Okay. This. Enemies. Doesn't say anything about enemies being here. And, the enemy, I mean, the dogs are such scaredy cats anyway. Yeah, I get it. The dogs are such fraidy cats that if there were enemies here, they'd be long gone. Okay. Let's take this. Check this out. So it's just a bunch of stuff. Oh. So normally when you see stuff like this, it means that there's like a crashed craft here, and you can pour through the wreckage to get a hard drive that you can then use to unlock new technologies. The new technologies are usually like alternate formulas for resources. Sometimes they are very good, where they can let you make advanced materials for very cheap with using simple items. Other times they're not so good. What is this? So there's a helmet. Is this like a grave of a guy? To unlock? Oh. I don't need the Xenosapper. So I unlocked the new helmet. It's the first time I've seen it, something like that, where I can unlock a new piece of gear. This is kind of cool. Yeah, I can hear the dogs. Oh. Surely it's not... It's counting the dogs as enemies? That's not cool. Uh-oh. How deep is that? Is that water? Yeah, it is water. There's those plants that I was telling you about. So if you get near them, they stand up and start spitting poison gas Oh. So apparently, you see, and there they are. They're all spitting the gas. Because I'm looking at them, apparently. Wow, that's a lot of poison gas. Then they're all guarding that one blue slug, which is a bit overkill, but okay. Now what we can do, if we wanted to get that blue slug, is there's no restriction on building in this game. So I think I have enough materials. And we build over here. And there we go. So there we got this, there's a blue plant there. So what we want to do try to get this up there. Go, 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 go. Nope, too far. And it's not super precise. Uh-oh. There's a spider over there. That killed the plant. That killed the spider. The poison gas will poison the other animals usually, which is good. Got that one. Arc high. I didn't think that one was close enough. Now, normally I wouldn't be able to jump this high, but I have a device on called Blade Runners, which give me the ability to run faster, jump higher, and take less damage when I fall on my feet. So the X thing will do. ladder. Get the spider parts. I hear a hog. The problem with the hogs is they like to headbutt you. It does a lot of damage, and it knocks you off of stuff like this. Okay, so let's take care of the gas. The gas is going to be a problem. Now, I'm kind of hoping that because of all this craziness, it's just not the blue slug they're guarding, but hopefully there's like a summer sloop or something up there. Summer sloops and Mercer spheres are alien technology that you find, and then you can unlock how to use them. Very useful stuff. Crazy useful stuff. So let's see if I can get this to stick. Got that one. How many of these do I have? I have 104 left. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't good enough. No, 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 don't fall! Don't fall! Well, that was not cool. Ugh. And of course, low light conditions. And I'm not one for parkour type games. Yeah, I kind of suck at this stuff. But I swear I heard a hog up there. I don't know if there is an up there or not. Something's... Oh, by the way, the chainsaw you can't use on bad guys. Don't know why. I would dearly love to use a chainsaw on them sometimes. You can't shoot these guys. The only way you can get rid of them is with the bombs. Okay. Yeah, those things are enemies. Huh. Nothing behind me. Up. Stupid spiders. Okay, let's look at this. There is a space up there. I could have swore I heard a hog up there. I'm going to try to get up there just to see, make sure there's nothing up there. Because all of this work for a blue slug, that's like the bottom of the slug hierarchy. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that for a minute. Gotta find a place I can build a ladder. See, I keep hearing a pig, a hog. That's not gonna work. There we go. Can I go higher? No, then it passes through. There's one of those bacon mushrooms. I can't climb that ladder all the way up. Okay, let's see. cliffs stick out too far. Okay, let's try this. I have a problem with heights too. So I suck at parkour and I don't like heights. I hear it. You know what? There is a hog. He is this way, but I think he's outside. He's on the surface. This is not a good view. I don't like this. Yeah. The first time I played multiplayer and everybody had these Blade Runners on, and it reminded me of the braces that Forrest Gump wore at the beginning of, oh gosh, I almost fell down, of the movie. Okay, let's get out of here. I do like to clean up after myself. You can't, once you start parachuting, you can't prematurely stop, like. So you're going to continue to slow fall until you get your feet on something. What is... Okay. Let's get out of here. I don't want to fully explore this cave. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Hey guys. And this is one of those, see, like this is all upper area. I'm running around under it. Let's see. Let's see. Gonna trigger like 90% of my phobias right here, boy. Okay, here we go. Don't look down. Don't look down. Oh my god. By the way, you can build crazy high up. Look at this. This didn't even get me. I thought it went higher than this. It doesn't. So you can't build up to the space elevator, but you can get dangerously high. Still, huh? Okay, this is ridiculously dangerous. I don't like this tunnel looking thing either. I hear something moving around. Probably spiders. Oh, I thought I was falling off of something. My heart jumped. Oops. Yep, there's a big spider. Let's go over here, see if I can shoot him. There's got to be something great in there, because these are big spiders. They are a pain in the butt, and there's apparently a bunch of them. And this is not the place I would want to fight them. Yeah, purple slug. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Uh-oh. Radiation level. I think that green stuff means there is uranium. This is the first time I've encountered uranium, by the way. So you can use the uranium and you can power a nuclear power plant. Let me run here and get some of this stuff. And they are massively powerful in the amount of energy they produce. But there's a problem, is that nuclear energy produces nuclear waste, and you got to do something with it. And just being near this stuff is deadly. You can get filters. I don't have the technology for that filters yet. I know where you can get them now, where you can get uranium. All these beautiful plants, they're all just the same thing. They're just, for game purposes, they're all equivalent. So if you see a new flower or something, it's just like the old flower as far as game purposes goes. As far as visual stuff, okay, make sure nothing's gonna kill me, because you see this rock face, it's all cracked. That means we can blow it up. Are you getting the heebie-jeebies? I am. This is a Mercer sphere. And this is an important piece of alien technology that unlocks all sorts of cool stuff. I think that's as far as it goes. Good. But this can get blown up. I don't think there's any point in blowing up that next piece. No. This... Oh, I was in this area just this morning with my friends online. We started a new world, but they started away from the newbie zone, and we just went wandering trying to find resources, and and now that I think about it, this is this looks like the biome they say, yeah, don't go in there, it's very dangerous. And it's like, so what do I do when I'm by myself? I go in there, it's very dangerous. Whoop-de-doop-de-doo, what's in here? Okay. Let's see. Radiation level, not cool, not cool. So this must be why the grass looks dead here, right? Or mutated. I bet you that whole area is radiated. Okay. So note to self, yes. And I'm wondering if that's the same thing. Oh, look at this. all of that stuff up there might be radiated too. You know what we can do? Oh, there's a crash site right there. You know what we can do is we can try to parachute over there, and if I'm getting radiated, then we can just parachute away someplace safe. Actually, I don't even know where the world I am. Okay, that way's home. So, we got about a little less than half an hour, so let's do this. Let's do this. Am I getting radiated? Oh, okay. So it was good to have a plan of action in case I did start to get radiated. Oh, you hear it? I heard it. So make sure I'm not going to get bashed by something. So is there a Mercer sphere near here? Oh. There's a Mercer sphere near here. I'm guessing it's high up. That's usually where they go. Huh. There's a coal node right down there. Do I have it on the map yet? Nope. I don't have anything on the map here. I haven't scanned or found stuff. This is kind of uncharted territory for me. Let's see. Nope. Oh, it's not a Mercer sphere, it's a gold slug. Yeah, okay, we'll go for it. Okay. And we can grab this yummy bacon mushroom. That is pretty though. Pretty weird. Let's see. Holy, look at that. That's a bad guy. Yeah, I kind of cheesed that, right? Stayed where he couldn't get me or see me. So what is this? This looks like coal? Yeah, it's coal. Not enough space to pick up coal normal. Oh. I don't want to pick it up though. I want to... This just seems innately hostile. So what we want to do is mark this as, I don't know, it's coal normal, okay. Oh shoot, I started it, now I can't fix it. Okay, let me go, where did I come in from? Came in from here. So this is coal, normal, looks like a rock, and it is black. There you go. That's how I do this stuff. See, that's coal too. And I got the plastic is good. The rubber's good. I haven't... Is that an extra chainsaw? That's an extra chainsaw. I don't need an extra chainsaw. I don't need this. Okay. Let's be careful out there. Trying to get my head above this to see what's out here. Kind of autumny in here. Don't want to fall for anything. Let's see. So that thing is weird looking, but it's harmless unless you bug it. Then it starts squirting gas everywhere, so don't bug it. I see a big old hatcher over there. As far as I know, I've never encountered anything hostile in the water. I hear something. Oh boy. I see more wall that we can blow up. I don't know if I'm reaching those guys. They might be out of my effective range. Yeah, he's not. Now you can see those little particles going into the rock. It's probably a purple slug that's in here. That's what they were guarding. And really? Here we go. Okay, I got 16 minutes to get back home. Why is it so purple here? Okay, that's just slug aura. Okay, which way's home? That way's home, south. Okay, let's beat feet home. Try not to get killed on the way home. So when you die, I don't think you hardcore lose anything, but you do drop all your stuff. Uh-oh, poison gas. When you die, you drop all your stuff, and then you can get it back, obviously, but it's going to take some effort. Let's see if I can get up here. Get around the gas. Ooh, this looks like a trail. This is looking dangerous. Am I going the right way? Should be going this way. Oh, into the gas, of course. Ooh, bamboo looking stuff. Okay, we're way high up. Luckily, you can sprint forever, and there's no stamina mechanic. And with the Blade Runners, I run faster than most of the monsters. So that's good. I'm slowly going downhill, I feel. Ah, this is that purple area I've been looking at from down here all along. Anyway, so there's my base. That's looking pretty good from up here. It looks like, you know, I'm organized and stuff. You know, it's like Ferris Bueller says, everything looks better from, you know, 1,500 feet. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And thank gosh there is no stamina mechanic. A lot of them, you know, a lot of games that, like, you know, Enshrouded, it has a glider mechanic, but it uses up stamina. So you can't go on a little excursion like this. You can, well, you could start one, but in fairly short order you run out of stamina, and then it's your flight path gets a lot more vertical at that point. Look at that. This is a lovely flight. This is pretty cool. I try to land on these mantas. I've gotten close to them before, but not like this. I don't want to give up this flight. I wonder if I can make it to the headquarters building there. Woo! Almost there. So you can see what's left of my my third base design. And let's drop in here. Whee! We're back. Look at all this stuff. So I can put these in there. I didn't get any summer sloops, so let's... So this is how we manually create stuff if we're not going to... Holy moly, I got a lot of this stuff. If we're not going to manufacture it through the automation. And this is what I'm saying. This is how you work it, and it's painful. So the first part of the game, you have to do this, and then the next part of the game, you could do this, but that's where you start to have the option to automate stuff, and this is so painful and slow that that's how they drive you into doing what you're supposed to be doing with the game in the first place. Look at that. So I got 62 DNA capsules out of this. These power shards, this is what you transform the slugs into, and you can use these to overclock your machinery. Now, just like in real life, overclocking has some good points and it has some bad points. The good point is when you overclock it, it speeds up production. You don't have to use up more resources. The ratio's still the same for your inputs and the outputs, but it does use more power, and it's a logarithmic scale. So the more you overclock, the exponentially more power you use. So there's the trade-off there. Late game, you can produce like ridiculous amounts of power, and so it probably doesn't matter. But I'm not in late game. Ridiculous amounts of power is what I need, and I don't have. So you got that. So wow, I did get over 60 of those things. So we'll go over here. Now this is what happens. You can't put them in the machine directly. You have to put them in a storage and feed them. So where are they? There we go. So we're feeding them. they're moving into there, and you can see it's chunking them down here and printing out tickets. And will I get 4 tickets? No, I'll just get 3. But 3 is pretty good. So then I already got some in the Foot Locker. So I got 6. Burning a hole in my pocket. Wall outlets. Hold on. Clean pipeline Mark II, Hypertube. So actually, let's grab all these. The big one I'm really after here is these Mark II power outlets. And buy it off. And I think that clears up that whole page. Woohoo! Let's see if I go over here. And they have these observation towers. They call it lookout towers. Yeah, same idea. And these are really useful for building, actually, because from up here, from this view, you could easily build and get a good bird's eye view of how things line up and stuff. But let's see, how does this work? So let's there we go. So and this is my satisfactory world. So I hope I really want to thank everybody who was on tonight. I really want to thank those who were on and asked questions and participated. Huge thank you. Great questions. It also gives me a clue as you know who's watching, right? I was wondering if like I was gonna get a bunch of satisfactory veterans or people who are just curious or what. So thanks. That was great. And I hope you liked what you saw. You know, if this made you curious about Satisfactory, great. You should check it out. You know, it's on Steam, so all you have to do is wait a couple months, and Steam will have a sale, and there's a good chance that you might be able to get this at a discount. It's a lot of fun. In fact, with the response we got today, I think maybe I'll do another episode of this next week in one of the live streams. In the meanwhile, by all means, like, subscribe, leave comments, ask questions. If you know this stuff, leave suggestions. Participate. That's what I'm here for, right? And until next time, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps just a touch of good fortune. Good night. Cheers.